morning to you all. Thanks for joining us this morning. You're watching our mid-morning edition of Arirang News on this Wednesday, March 11th, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Shin Se-min. Before we dive right in, these are the stories we're topping at this hour. South Korea, after seeing a drop in new coronavirus cases, is struggling to contain the spread from a new hotspot here in the capital. Seoul reports 90 confirmed cases linked to a call center on Wednesday, with fears that there could be more to come. The Moon Jae-in administration's largest supplementary budget yet, the $10 billion of extra funds to help revive businesses hit by COVID-19 may not be enough. Additional measures likely to be announced next week. Still, no concrete developments on trade between South Korea and Japan, even after a 16-hour-long marathon teleconference. Officials say they never discussed when Japan would end its trade restrictions against Seoul. We begin with the latest on the coronavirus here in South Korea. The capital of Seoul has reportedly confirmed 90 cases of the coronavirus linked to a call center in the southwest of the capital as of midnight on Wednesday, up from around 60 from the previous day. Now, it's the largest number of people that have been infected in the capital of Seoul, raising concerns over clusters of new infections in the metropolitan area. Seoul Mayor Park Won-sun told CBS radio program this Wednesday that the city is considering shutting down private call centers as a preventative measure. Now, the mayor also said there are a total of 745 such call centers nationwide, with 417 of them situated in Seoul. He also confirmed 2 of those cases from the call center are followers of the Shincheonji religious group, currently at the center of the rapid spread within Korea. Nationwide, there are a total of 7,513 confirmed cases related to coronavirus as of midnight Wednesday, and the death toll at 60. Voicing the need for additional measures, representatives of the ruling party, government, and presidential office stress that the current coronavirus outbreak here in the nation is at the same level as a war and vowed to work together to counter the fallout from the virus. Here's the former Prime Minister Lee Na-kyun, who currently heads the ruling party's COVID-19 response panel this morning.
The government-drawn supplementary budget does not seem enough to ease critical situation. I call on ruling party to come up with special measures to cope with financial difficulties for businesses.
Shortly after the meeting, the participants hinted that the $10 billion supplementary budget bill already submitted for parliamentary review may see an increase to cover a wider range of businesses affected by the outbreak. The head of the ruling party's COVID-19 team added that the additional measures and financial aid will likely cover small business owners, as well as transportation flights, general aviation, and the education sector. And the government is likely to roll out the extra measures by next week. Coronavirus fears in the United States are also increasing as the number of new cases and deaths ticks up by the day. The number of COVID-19 deaths reported in the U.S. has reached 29 as of Tuesday local time, with over 800 confirmed patients. President Trump previously said his administration is mulling over a payroll tax cut and other measures to cope with the economic impact of the outbreak. And a growing number of U.S. colleges are canceling in-person classes over the spread of the virus. The school closures, which began in the state of Washington, now include Harvard, Columbia, Princeton, and Stanford universities, affecting more than 500,000 students nationwide. It's also affecting U.S. politics as well. The Democratic Party's presidential hopefuls, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, both canceled rallies in Ohio on Tuesday over coronavirus concerns, the first such disruption the outbreak has caused in its primaries. Italy has witnessed its largest one-day increase of coronavirus fatalities, 168, with the death toll standing at 631 as of late Tuesday local time. The accumulated number of confirmed COVID-19 cases now stands at 10,149. As the Italian government steps up efforts to tackle the outbreak, the entire country of some 60 million people has been put on a complete lockdown. And confirmed coronavirus cases also continue to surge in Iran, with over 8,000 cases tallied as of Tuesday, up by nearly 900 in the space of one day. Amid the outbreak, the office of Iran's supreme leader announced he will skip his annual public address on the first day of the Persian New Year, which falls on March 20th. And the UK's health minister, Nadine Dorries, tested positive for the virus after falling ill on Friday of last week. She is the first member of the parliament to be diagnosed with the virus, and this comes as a sixth person there has died from coronavirus, with a total number of 382 cases being reported. Just days after the 5-day rotation system for purchasing protective face masks was introduced here in the nation, a senior government official has explained improvements will be made to address public inconveniences. Starting this Wednesday, face masks will also be available at some 1,300 local town post offices across the nation. Our Kim Hyo-sun with the details.
In an effort to alleviate public inconvenience, South Korea's Deputy Prime Minister Hong Nam-gi said improvements will be made to the current mask rationing scheme. Addressing lawmakers on Tuesday, Hong said he will review the distribution of masks according to demand at each pharmacy. While the newly introduced 5-day rotation system has effectively reduced the long queues, he explained he will also examine the time the masks are sold at pharmacies.
I have to stop by pharmacies on my way to work and after lunch as they do not state exactly at what time the masks are being sold.
The South Korean government has also started disclosing information on masks that are sold through official public channels. It elaborated this would promote public-private cooperation, enabling the private sector to develop mobile applications that show where masks are available. As part of efforts to expand public supply of face masks, some 1,300 local town post offices across the country will begin selling them from Wednesday. This includes around 90 post offices located in virus-stricken Daegu and Cheongdo County. The current 5-day rotation system will be applied, under which citizens can buy up to 2 protective masks a week on designated days, depending on the final digit of their year of birth. They will cost around $1 each. People will not be allowed to buy face masks at pharmacies and post offices on the same week. Meanwhile, 80,000 face masks will arrive in South Korea from China on Wednesday, as Beijing has vowed to extend a helping hand to its Asian neighbor. An official from Seoul's foreign ministry told reporters that the Chinese government agreed to send personal protective equipment, including face masks and gowns. In late January, Seoul also sent quarantine supplies to China, including 30,000 face masks. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
South Koreans have been stepping up to the plate to support those affected by the coronavirus. And the country's foreign residents are also doing their part. In one example of how they are helping out, our Kim Bo-kyung went out to see more than a dozen Ethiopian expats who are donating their blood.
This group of around 15 Ethiopians are visiting a blood center in central Seoul. With the number of donors in Korea falling sharply due to the COVID-19 outbreak, these good-hearted people are helping out by giving their blood. They say they have decided to do this not only to encourage other foreigners to take part, but also because Ethiopia has special ties with South Korea.
In history, Koreans, Ethiopians have their own history. Like suffering a war in 1952, our grandfathers are coming here and support Korea. So we wanted to continue that legacy to the next generation of this one.
All of this started thanks to a group of 3 or 4 people who wanted to help those suffering due to the virus. Through their efforts, already at least 50 people have volunteered so far.
This is a very hard time for Korea, but as a nation, they are setting a lot of example, They are like medical examination for a vast number of people. It's like unseen in any other countries, So Koreans are doing a lot of great things. We are encouraged by that, and we wanted to encourage our brothers as well.
After they check their body temperature and clean their hands with sanitizers, they fill out a health questionnaire to see if they can donate blood. Fortunately, lots of them were able to donate. And those who couldn't give blood say that they will show their solidarity with South Korea in other ways.
Now, as you can see, I tried to donate my blood, but unfortunately I couldn't. So I'll try to help anything I can do, anything. Like now we bought 500 masks and we already sent to Daegu. So we will continue.
If you want to be part of this cause, you can message one of the organizers, Joe David, through KakaoTalk or call the Red Cross at 033-811-0088. With the belief that even small efforts can be of great help, these foreigners have rolled up their sleeves to help South Korea. And amid the current blood shortages in the country, these small efforts could save someone's life. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
The Pentagon says it has not seen a, quote, dramatic reduction in the readiness or ability of its troops in South Korea following the postponement of their joint military exercises due to the coronavirus outbreak here in the nation. The Pentagon's chief spokesperson added Tuesday that the allies hope to resume some of their activities once the outbreak passes and warmer weather arrives in South Korea. Another senior Pentagon official emphasized that while the exercises have been canceled or postponed, the allies have maintained readiness by continuing small group training. Despite a marathon 16-hour-long discussion Tuesday on their prolonged trade dispute, officials from South Korea and Japan failed to reach a clear conclusion over Tokyo's export curbs and will come back later to try again. According to South Korea's Trade Ministry Wednesday, the two countries positively evaluated their respective plans for strengthening legal and institutional export management capabilities. They also agreed to strengthen cooperation so export management and technology transfer management can be done efficiently. But Japanese media outlets have also reported this Wednesday that there's a still huge difference of opinions between the two sides. Tuesday's meeting was the first of its kind in 3 months and was conducted via video conference due to the entry restrictions both have set on each other over the COVID-19 outbreak. The South Korean economy added more than 400,000 new jobs for the third straight month in the month of February. According to data released by Statistics Korea on Wednesday, the number of people employed in South Korea was about 26.8 million last month, up 492,000 on year. Due to the COVID-19 outbreak, employment in the food and lodging sectors slowed, but the corresponding figures in the partial delivery and transport warehouse sectors went up. The employment rate for those between 15 and 64 years old reached around 66% in February. Now that's the highest ever for the month of February since related figures were first compiled in 1989.
Good morning. Yesterday's dark and rainy clouds brought colder air to the country earlier, so many regions had lows 5 to 10 degrees lower than the same time yesterday. However, afternoon highs will rise as high as Tuesday, leading to wide temperature differences across much of the country. But overall, chilly but a beautiful Tuesday or Wednesday is ahead. We will enjoy sunny skies with good air quality across the country, and daily highs will be similar to yesterday, ranging from 8 to 13 degrees Celsius this afternoon. Seoul getting up to 8 degrees, Daegu topping out at 11 degrees this afternoon. In fact, the spring cold is here to stay for a few more days. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll get some relief from the cold snap, but readings will overall remain below the seasonal norms for a while, with snow and even rain in the forecast for early Friday in the central region. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for viewers around the world.
And that does it for us at this hour on Arirang News. More news lineup on the latest coronavirus outbreak here in the nation, as well as that lengthy trade talks between South Korea and Japan coming up in our later newscast scheduled at noon Korea time. Thank you for watching and goodbye.